Hi, everyone. Hi. Hello. Happy to be with you here once again. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, how are you? Um, just gonna wait for a couple more people to join before I start my weekly Friday immigration news. Although last week I did it on Wednesday, and then the very next day Russia invaded Ukraine, and the world has changed, and history has happened, and we will never be the same. And today's show is to focus on Ukraine, and I'm going to do it in English first, and then I will end this one and do a second one in Russian so that my Ukrainian brothers and sisters can hear me, understand me 100%, and understand what to do with the new law that just passed and so on. But this show right now is for everyone. So everybody's welcome to please participate. Tell us what you're thinking. Ask any questions you have about immigration law, your case. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for watching. Um, Nothing I say in the show is meant to be any legal advice. I provide general information only, but of course I'm an attorney, so the information I provide is geared towards, the legal side of immigration law. We welcome you to call us in the office. The number is on the bottom of the screen and in my profile, and ask your questions individually in the form of consultation. But today I have some topics prepared for you guys, and I would love to discuss them with you. And there's no specific, topic for your questions. So if you have a question about VAWA or asylum or your family case or humanitarian parole or anything with immigration, please ask at the end, and I will answer as much as I can. Today, I'm planning to do this for about 40 minutes or so, because I want to have time to do a second one in the Russian language exclusively. All right. Okay, so my first topic is just, again, I'm not going to do much politics, but if you are anywhere outside of Russia, you know and you believe that Russia invaded a sovereign country, an independent country with its own culture, language, army, a country that was on the border. And basically, we consider it genocide, as does the rest of the world. And I do believe that the government of Russia and the people of Russia are two different things. So anything I say is not against Russian people. I actually feel terrible for Russian people. There's a great cancel culture right now against anybody Russian. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but let me talk about my homeland, Ukraine. I was born in Ukraine. I came to the United States as an immigrant at the age of 12, but at that time, it wasn't Ukraine yet. It was Soviet Union, right? So Soviet Union had, different laws, different government. That's when we came here to the United States, and I've been here since then. That doesn't mean that I don't love or cry or pray for the people of Ukraine. Ukraine has a right to be independent, to exist on its own without being invaded by Russia. Any excuses Russia presented for invading are bullshit, and you know it. And I will not stand for it. And the rest of the world will not stand for it. However, everybody is afraid of the nuclear weapons that Russia has, and they showed us that they're crazy enough to use them. So we are probably going to watch and do nothing other than send them weapons and things like that. This created a huge refugee crisis. Over 1 million Ukrainian refugees crossed the borders of all the neighboring countries. They came from Ukraine and they went to Poland, they went to Romania, they went to Spain sometimes, but they have to keep going. They went to Hungary, they went to Slovakia. Anybody that's on the border with Ukraine, they try to go there. The US embassies in those countries are accepting people for scheduling for visas, but they're not like automatically giving visas out. They are, however, considering people and sometimes approving, but sometimes denying people for tourist visas to come to the United States. because frankly, when you say you're going to come to the United States and immigrate here, you're showing your intent to permanently move to America, which is conflicting with the non-immigrant intent, or basically your intention to come temporarily as a visitor to the United States. And a lot of people who don't have family in the United States are getting denied. So that's what's happening with Ukraine and the neighboring countries. And, last night, Department of Homeland Security implemented a new law for Ukrainian nationals called TPS. So I wanted to talk about the temporary protected status today, because actually it's a good lesson for people from 12 other countries. So right now, Ukraine is added. It's a new country designated for people to apply and send out temporary protected status applications. But people from Haiti, from Syria, from El Salvador, from Sudan, South Sudan, are eligible. I'm just going to go through the list right now. And if you're from one of those countries and inside United States, and that's the thing, you have to be inside US. And if you're from Ukraine, you had to already be inside US as of March 1st, 2022. If you're inside, you might be eligible. Let me tell you the countries that are on the list of TPS, temporary protected status countries. These are Burma, El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. If you're from those countries, you can ask for temporary protection or like asylum from the United States. Ukraine is now added to this list. You can get a work permit, and it's for 18 months, and you will not be deportable for those 18 months. Every other country in the list has been renewed for TPS. So every 18 months, you file a renewal application, and they give you 18 months more. This is a new thing for Ukraine, so we don't yet know what's going to happen. But if I had to predict, I would say they're going to do what they did for all the other countries. And for now, they will be renewing them. If you want to file TPS, there's a special place where you file, and you can go onto USCIS website and look up where exactly you have to mail it. You file by filing Form I-821 and a work permit application, I-765, okay? If you have violations, like you had arrest or anything like that, you also can get a waiver. You can do a waiver and file Form I-601 waiver. And I see here there's a question about waivers. I'm going to get to it after I'm done talking about my topics. I will tell you about what I know about the I-601A and I-601 waiver, which you can file if you have violations that otherwise wouldn't let you have TPS, but TPS allows you to also file for a waiver. With TPS, you have to prove you're a national of that country. You were here in the United States on the date you were supposed to be. Different countries have different dates, obviously. And you have to attach proof of who you are, your passport, and so on. Also, they might ask you for proof of residence in the United States, like employment records, rent, receipts, bills, receipts or letters from companies, school records, hospital or medical records, or any other proof that you were here in the United States on the specific date that they need you to be here on. So that's all I'm going to say about TPS. Generally, if you're eligible, give us a call. We can work with you and file, whether you're from Ukraine or any other country. We love TPS. It's like temporary asylum. It's kind of like asylum, and it does allow people to travel with advanced parole. There's a travel document. So we welcome you. If you're interested in TPS, it might be for you if you're from one of those countries that I mentioned. Let's talk about humanitarian parole. If your relatives are in another country and you are a U.S. citizen or green card holder, you can sponsor them for something called humanitarian parole. Humanitarian parole is instead of a visa. So instead of going through the usual channels to get the visa, like applying for a visa and all that, they directly apply for humanitarian parole, and the U.S. citizen or the green card holder sponsor has to prove they have the income and the money to support these new, you could call them refugees. It's kind of like for people who are in a humanitarian crisis, either in their own country or like Ukraine right now, they're refugees to another country. Let's say you have family in Somalia and you're a US citizen and they're struggling. There's a medical emergency, or they need surgery, or it's, somebody is dying. It's some humanitarian situation that's really terrible. You have to describe it and file for humanitarian parole. It goes to a separate department with USCIS, and then if it's approved, they get an interview. They have to do a visa application, and they will come here with the status of humanitarian parole. It's like a visa, okay? It's like a status. That's all I'm going to talk about humanitarian parole. Now, if you have Ukrainian refugees in Poland or Hungary, relatives of yours, you can file for them for humanitarian parole, and they are approving these when those people file for a visa. So they file for a visa, and you just send proof that you are related, that you have income taxes, and they're letting people come in. Now, finally, I wanted to talk about asylum before I get to your questions. What is asylum, right? Asylum is when you're already inside United States and you are afraid to return to your home country. You're afraid, you're scared. Why are you scared? It has to be for one of the 5 reasons. Your nationality is being abused in the country, meaning you are in minority. In the country, maybe everybody is of one nationality, you are a minority. So because you look a certain way or you have a certain nationality, you get beaten up, you get abused. Maybe the police is harassing you, or maybe you got beaten up and the police is refusing to do anything about it because you're of that nationality or race. So that's 2. Political opinion is a big one. This is the most popular one that people use. They say, I want to file for political asylum. In other words, you have an opinion and you express it. You show your opinion. It's not just inside your head. You write a blog. You you have pictures that you went to a protest meeting or rally. You are distributing information or publishing information that's not a popular opinion in your country. For that opinion, you're getting abused, arrested, questioned, beaten up, and so on, injured. Okay, that's political asylum. Also, there's something called social group. Like, for example, you are a fighter against corruption, or you're a woman in many countries, and women suffer from like domestic violence in many, many countries. So if you're in any of those categories, you're not one person, but you are a person that represents this whole category. You're LGBT, you are trans, you are political, you're politically active and they hate you for it. You're a Baptist in a country that's completely Orthodox Christian, or you're a Christian in a Muslim country. And for all of this, for your religion, you get abused. You can ask United States, if you're inside the United States, for something called asylum. You have to file within 1 year of coming here, or within 1 year of expiring status, if you had like F1 visa or something like that. You need proofs, as I mentioned. You need witnesses. You need to have a really good story. You also have to show that you couldn't stay in any other country. Like if you had sort of a green card or permanent residency in another country, like for example, if you lived in Italy for 5 months, it's going to be super difficult to prove that you should get asylum in the United States. Asylum is something like the last resort. It's something you turn to when you have nothing else to turn to, nowhere else to run, nowhere else to go, right? So that's asylum. We will help you put everything together. It's the form I-589. It's your personal story. It's your evidence, meaning all the paperwork you have, or pictures, or any publications you have that show that you were abused and persecuted. And it's very important, and I'm going to keep repeating this, you have to prove you're in that category, those 5 categories: religion, nationality, race, social group, or opinion, right? You have to prove that you're in one of those categories. Otherwise, they won't know what to do with you, and they will deny your asylum, right? So that's all I want to say about asylum, just like a little educational information type thing from an immigration lawyer. We go to court. I personally go to court with people. We file for asylum. We deal with all kinds of things. Another thing I wanted to kind of mention at the end before I get to your questions and comments, which I welcome. And by the way, if you have a question, drop the comment below. And please subscribe to our channel so you can keep watching, and we'll make more videos for you. Your comments we take, and then we make new shows out of. Like, I'll make more do-it-yourself guides for how to file for things for like asylum or TPS or humanitarian parole. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice this whole week. I've been talking to people who are trying to get Ukrainian refugees or the Ukrainian refugees themselves out of Ukraine. So my voice is going. Okay, last thing is PD, prosecutorial discretion. Let me tell you, it's a great thing for the right person. So let me explain to you what it is. Let's say you filed for asylum, but you have like a weak case, right? Let's say that happened, and you have kids, they're born in the United States. So you can go a couple of ways. One way is PD. PD is prosecutorial discretion. You and your lawyer can ask the government to agree to freeze your case. It's called administrative closure, and they have, the prosecutors, the trial attorneys, the discretion, the right to make an agreement with you and your lawyer to freeze your case, not to push it to deportation, right? Why do you need that, right? If you have a kid who's about to turn 21, but maybe you need 2-3 years, they're like 17 or 18 right now. Prosecutorial discretion is great for you because you will be frozen. You won't be deported. As soon as your child turns 21, we file a family petition for you. We unfreeze your case and get you a green card, okay? If you have something that you need more time for, your spouse is a green card holder, but they need 3 more years to become a U.S. citizen, PD or prosecutorial discretion is great for you, okay? It could be a reason to freeze your case, and your lawyer makes a special letter request with all kinds of paperwork to show why you need this chance not to go to deportation, because you probably won't win your case. This is for people with like a weakish case, okay? Or you have some other problems that make your case unwinnable, realistically speaking. Okay, that happens. And I'm not going to lie to you. Not every case you win by winning the case. Sometimes you freeze it and you wait for the person's kid to turn 21. The kid is a U.S. citizen. Or the spouse or something else happens. Like we have a few recently where we filed for VAWA. The person had an asylum case. They married the U.S. citizen. The person who is the U.S. citizen abused them. We then filed an abuse case, VAWA, I-360. We need a good 3 years to see what happens. So we asked the judge to freeze the case instead of just keep going back to court over and over again. That's not unlimited. It stops at some point and they tell you need a trial. We said, please, trial attorneys, agree with us to freeze this case, do PD, and we're going to freeze it. And we've been successful. We've been freezing them and waiting for the VAWA case to be approved. When that's approved, we go back. We make a motion to close the deportation case permanently, not freeze, but terminate, completely cancel it out. And with that, the person gets a green card and finally an advanced parole and so on. Final thing I want to talk about. If you have court case open, you cannot travel. If you have an immigration court case, even if you're in some others, you're filing for something else that normally would allow you to travel. Like asylum, if you have an emergency, yes, once in a while you're able to get an advanced parole, but not if you're in immigration court. So if you have an immigration court case, you cannot travel. If you leave, you're self-deporting and they might not let you back in. So that's all I wanted to say today. Let me get to your comments and your questions, which I'm very grateful for, and I'm happy you guys are watching and interacting with me. I don't want to be like a one-sided talker to the screen. Good morning. Please, can you tell me how long it will take for the I-601A and 601 to get approved? Thank you. Honestly, right now, about 2 years, plus or minus. Hi, Marina. I applied for VAWA in October 2021. I live in Dubai. I have only received the receipt letter, and it's already been 142 days until now. No RFE, no prima facie. Please advise if it's some delay. The I-360 VAWA cases take 3 years, so you might not hear anything back from them for another year. Chrissy says, good morning, beautiful Marina. Oh, my fan and my beautiful viewer, Chrissy. Hello, good morning. Bolton says, I need a waiver. Give us a call. The phone number's on the bottom. Porfirio says, can I apply for advanced parole as I just sent the I-485 adjustment? You can if you don't have any problems that you can't travel. Like I just mentioned, if you don't have an old deportation case, if you don't have an open case that maybe was frozen but not completely terminated, then you should be okay to get advanced parole and you can travel. But not everybody can travel, so be very careful with the travel. Ariane says, I'm out of status the last 3 years. I don't have U.S. marriage things, and I don't want to apply for asylum. So what kind of options do I have? And I'm from India, so I have a restaurant owner who's ready to sponsor me and study hotel. You cannot file for anything, unfortunately, because you're already out of status. And Noop says, what it seems this case, as it's been 142 days, any positive sign? I don't know. It's hard to say. Things are super delayed with USAS right now. Cydia says, good morning. I've been waiting on my work permit from 2020. Now my case has been changed to VAWA. Is my work permit still effective from the first petition, or it has to be changed into VAWA petition? Usually, you're fine with the original work petition. You don't have to change the work permit, okay? You got it through the family case first. It's fine. VAWA basically just changes the reason for the green card application. The green card application itself doesn't change that much. And the work permit is based on the green card. So you're fine. You don't need to change anything. The basis is still the same. Dardil says, thanks very much for being good. Oh, thank you so much for watching. D. Kaiser says, I went to an interview back in January, and I received a message from yesterday that I should expect a decision in 90 days. Why? Who knows why? Who knows who's working on your case, what they're doing? I wouldn't worry about it. And Noop says, but other cases already received RFE and who applied after mine, how USCIS work, I don't get that. Your problem is that you're looking for logic. You're looking for some uniform one way that USCIS works on VAWA cases. There is no such thing. There's no such thing. I get one case that I filed that was a great case for a male VAWA from Romania. The poor guy had to wait 4 years. He was approved, but he waited 4 years. I do other cases where it's not as good, not as much evidence, blah, blah, blah. It gets approved in a year. I don't know why. I don't know why you didn't get the RFE. I wouldn't look for any logic in this. Christy says, he just got to be patient. Exactly. Christy knows because she's been watching me. Just be patient. I know. And listen, I understand. I'm, here I am a lawyer. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm already established. Maybe you think I don't understand. I do understand. It's very frustrating. You're one of so many thousands of people that we work with who are so frustrated and constantly asking me about this. And it's just as frustrating for me that I cannot help you. I wish I could. And I don't take any money for something like that because I know that I'm not going to be able to make a difference and move it along. The only time you can now expedite your case is if you can prove some humanitarian situation in your case, something terrible that's happening in your case. In that case, yes, you can ask to expedite the VAWA or whatever, but you need paperwork. You need maybe a doctor's letter. You need something to show why your case is unlike everyone else. And I understand everybody's unique and special. I get that, and they get that. But some people, someone is dying, or you have a God forbid, some medical problem. For those people, they will expedite. Also, for work permits, if you are a healthcare worker, meaning you work in anything related to medicine, you don't have to be in the hospital yourself, but maybe you work in, fixing cars or ambulettes for the hospital or for some medical facility. Maybe you work as a truck driver and you happen to drive medical supplies, pharmaceutical supplies. If you can prove it, they will expedite your work permit and you won't have to wait for like 11 months. Right now, it's taking some people 11 months to get a work permit. I think that's all I have for questions for today. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me check Facebook also for any questions, because sometimes things come into Facebook and I don't necessarily see them here. I think that's all for today. I don't see anything else on Facebook. Okay, guys, it was a nice one. Thank you so much. I wanted to mention TPS, and I mentioned it. I wanted to mention the Humanitarian Parole. Everything I wanted to tell you, I told you. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a blessed day. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Praying for peace in the whole world. Praying for peace wherever you are and wherever I am. Hope to see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.